All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, June 4th. We got a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video, like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any of the plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays. So I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, it's absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, it still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of yesterday, let's drop a cha-ching there. We have a 10-1-1 night. Michael Massey being the push, so a 10-1 night. Cardinals money line being our only loss, and oh my, they were up, what, 7-2, I think, in the 5th inning? So we almost had an 11-0 sweep, which I do not think, I pretty much know that we've never done that before. So you know what? One more cha-ching there. Anything we saw yesterday turned to gold. My only issue, and this is just the nature of the beast, ain't it, in this industry, my only issue is we rolled with a lot of, half unit plays, a few quarter unit plays yesterday because we didn't feel like we saw the board all that well. I even said it in yesterday's video, and this is what it turns into. Man, oh man, there's nothing like this industry, but a 10-1 night, we shall take it, even with the half unit plays. One more cha-ching. We're abusing the soundboard today because we're also talking about a ride of the day winner from my man Kool-Aid. He had Cleveland's first 5 team total under 1.5. Cleveland didn't score their first run until I believe the 7th inning. So this one was a no sweat. That was a low scoring game. We just barely squeaked out Yankees' first 5 run line, right? They scored in the bottom of the 5th there. The tracker is up to date. This will be linked in the pinned comment as well. Kool-Aid now on the board with a win there. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you're like, what the heck is this ride of the day? All you have to do is use hashtag ride of the day or ROTD down in the comments. Give me your favorite play of the day. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day. I give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to roll and ride with your play like we're going to be doing with Kool-Aid today. If you do lose, we still give you the shout out, but you got to face the womp womp, face the music the next time on the show here. But I also post this over on my Twitter/X, which just popped up here, bottom left of your screen. And it's also going to be within the Ride of the Day tracker there as well, and with the final play. So looking forward to seeing what Kool-Aid drops today. Because we have a lot of getaway games and whatnot, Kool-Aid, if you're watching this early, please help me out, help us out, try and get something in earlier the better here. Even though we do have some late games, we've got a lot of games kicking off pretty damn early. So get that hashtag ride of the day in there. And even if though we're jumping on board with Kool-Aid today, make sure everyone else gets their hashtag ride of the days because you're helping out a ton of other people in the comments. But what do you say we go ahead and dive into game number 1 here, guys? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Really do appreciate it. Can we go 10-1 again? Probably not. But I can promise you that we will try here. Miami taking on Colorado. This is an interesting one because, and I know we get flack in the comments for this, but I'm not a big believer in teams sweeping other teams, especially if your name is the Colorado Rockies. So I think that Colorado has some advantages here. Kyle Freeland on the mound. I think he's better than Cal Quantrill. Miami doesn't really hit lefties all that well, but we've now seen Colorado win game number 1 and 2 in this series. Do they really come into Miami and sweep them? That seems like it's a little bit too much of a tall task. So I lean Colorado. I don't think I can fully get there myself. I will say for the advantages that they have, being plus 150 seems like it could make a little bit of sense. In terms of what we have from a total, I think that this is a spot in which the Marlins maybe win a low scoring one, or the Rockies just continue to win. So maybe a Marlins team total under could be on the table here. I think Freeland could actually have a decent game here, as crazy as it is to say, against Miami. He is a lefty, like I already mentioned. He is a big pitch mix, and honestly, for a guy that's been pitching in Colorado, he has some decent numbers. Look at his numbers against, his opponents on the road. Way better. He's got like a 1.2 whip, which is mediocre, 3.5 FIP, mediocre, and mediocre is good for some of these Colorado pitchers. So he's one of the best they got. I'm going to lean towards Colorado, as well as a Miami team total under. I just don't know if we can really get to Colorado because of the sweep situation. Cincinnati taking on Milwaukee. We had the first 5 under in this one. I'm glad we did. I felt square with some of those plays yesterday, right? Because we're just following big picture names, taking first 5 unders. But it did come through. We had Peralta and Hunter Green looking pretty good yesterday. Today we have DL Hall. Looks like he's going to be opening up. And then Quinn Priester is the primary pitcher. But DL Hall, when he does pitch, he gives you like 3 to 4 innings. So he's like a long opener. I don't even know if you'd call it an opener. Andrew Abbott on the other side of things, who I think has been fantastic, right? Looking at some of his numbers, you think that he's just untouchable right now, which he may be today. But the one thing I'll say is he's a lefty. Milwaukee does hit lefties pretty well, but he throws the fastball, and Milwaukee does not hit fastballs well. So it's almost like that lefty, them hitting lefties well kind of gets countered in the sense with the fastball. On the other side of things, you have Quinn Priester, who is the primary. Again, DL Hall may be pitching a few innings here too, but when Priester comes in, he's going to throw the slider and the sinker. There's not a better team in the league right now in the last 30 days at hitting the sinker than the Cincinnati Reds. So I'm going to trust Abbott. I'm going to trust the better bullpen and what I think may be a competitive offense today in Cincinnati. Give me them at home. Their bullpen late innings may be a little taxed. I mean, Pagan went 18, Ashcraft went 17, but they had the day off for the previous 2 days. So I'm thinking if they need them, they should be good to go. In terms of what we have from a total, I don't think this is going to be like yesterday, a low-scoring game to start or anything like that. I could see Abbott pitching well, obviously with that fastball, but I'm going to lean slightly towards an over. I think this is the type of game that gets to 4-4, and it's like, well, someone has to win, right? And we get to 9. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about this one. All right, Red Sox taking on the Angels. This Red Sox team, and I didn't roll with them yesterday, I get it. Man, oh man, are they heartbreaking to watch. They are losing so many one-run games as of late. Today we have Giolito going up against Jose Soriano. I want to, and I wanted and still do, want to get to a first 5 under because both these guys can induce a lot of ground balls. But I do worry about the weather that we have in Boston today. It is beautiful out. There's wind blowing out to center field in Fenway, but it's going to be like 85 degrees, one of the hottest days of the year. Based on the way this Angels offense has been playing on the road, I worry about that. And given the fact that Soriano is such a ground ball specialist, it makes me think that he might be able to handle that weather, handle that heat a little bit more, keeping the ball on the ground. So for the plus money, I guess I could see the angle of the Angels. Boy, that is tough to say. But to me, I do still think the Red Sox have been competitive in this series, and I don't know if they get swept at home by an Angels team, right? This Angels team just got over 500. They're 18-17 after yesterday's win on the road. So I'm going to go with the Red Sox. Sound the psycho alert alarm. Guys, this is not a biased play whatsoever. This is avoiding a sweep. You do have a pitcher on the mound, Giolito, that though his fastball could get tattooed today, he's going to throw a changeup that's decent, a slider that's decent, right? And neither one of those pitchers are going to work for this LA team. The changeup, I do think that, he could get some key outs with, but that slider could be really, really big. Trout, Soler, any of these big names do struggle against that pitch. So, yeah, I think that this could be a close one, but I'm also going to take a peek at the under. The Red Sox offense has been a little bit wishy-washy. And Soriano should keep the ball on the ground. So if I think Giolito could pitch well, I'm not sitting here thinking that the Red Sox absolutely get to Soriano, right? And throw in the fact that in the extra inning, in the late innings or extra innings, I do think the Red Sox have a slight advantage because I don't like this Angels bullpen. Hey, real quick, guys, before we do move on with the rest of the games here, I want to talk to you about Sleeper. They got 100% of your first $100 that you deposit as a new customer getting matched, meaning you hand them 100, right? They're going to come back at you with, hey, here's a free 100. You go ahead and give them 50. They're going to give you a free 50. They double up whatever you deposit. And the cool thing is they have a ton of promos live on the app right now. As a new customer, you'll get a free square today. I don't know if it's going to be basketball or baseball, but it'll be like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, 0.5 points, or one of the better pitchers on the slate for 0.5 outs. So they hook you up there, right, as a new customer, but they've also been rolling out tons and tons of payout boosts or discounted props or Wildcard Wednesdays over on their app. Nobody is doing promos like Sleeper is right now. So if you like player props, you like picking more or less, head over to the link down in the description, as well as the pinned comment, get your first deposit matched, get that free square, and all of the other promos that they have to offer on that app. I've been talking to you guys about Sleeper for a long time. It is one of, if not my favorite player prop app out there. Go ahead and check it out. That link, again, will be down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment. Let's jump back into these games. Pittsburgh, Houston. Guys, if I'm Paul Skeens, Boy, I don't even know what I am doing. I'm so frustrated. He goes 8 scoreless innings. They gave him one. He let up. No, he went what? 1 run in 8 innings, I should say. They gave him 0 runs, and then ultimately, the Astros come through against the bullpen and whatnot. But they won 3-0. Paul Skeens was phenomenal, and they still lost. And in fact, he lost. So I would just be so frustrated. Today we have Gusto going up against Burrows. Burrows has been nothing short of pitching machine in terms of like just boom, 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 letting these guys hit. So I do think advantage on the pitching end to Houston, which is kind of crazy because Gusto hasn't necessarily been all that great. But I do trust Houston's offense a lot here. So I think that they can get to him. I'm going to lean towards Houston. -120 is an interesting price tag. I will say that. Like, I'd kind of sit here and be like, I feel like they should be a little bit more juiced, right? Like, we've seen this Pittsburgh offense absolutely stink, and Houston does have a good offense. Now, their offense, you could make the argument, is in a little bit of a rut, right? But to me, still, like, this should be a 5-4 game at minimum, or 5-run game, I should say, for Houston, based on the pitcher that they're seeing, based on the bullpen. I'm not the biggest believer in Pittsburgh bullpen either, so I don't know. Maybe that price tag worries me. Maybe Gusto isn't going to hang in there, so I guess I would pivot. If you don't like the idea of backing Gusto, I would still pivot and play Houston somehow, but maybe like a team total over. My problem is, like I said, they've been a little bit inconsistent. So if I say it's like a 5-4 game, because again, Gusto's got to let up a couple. This is not even Lance McCullers Jr. I don't really trust Gusto. So I guess I lean slightly to the over in this one, but it's tough to take a full game over there, including both teams, when Pittsburgh is on one of those sides. So if I were to play this, I'm probably sitting there considering Houston or their team total over before I move on to taking that 9. All right, Washington's taking on Chicago here. We have Mackenzie Gore on the bump going up against Matthew Boyd, so 2 good pitchers to deal with here. I would be kind of looking at a first 5 under because of the 2 pitchers, right? But when you think about it, these are 2 decent offenses as well. I know Washington has kind of gotten routed so far in this series, but Mackenzie Gore's had a better season, or I guess arguably a better season, because there are definitely some spots for both of them, than Matthew Boyd. And Matthew Boyd away from Wrigley hasn't been as good. And Chicago, very good offense, a little bit of struggle against the lefties. So I think that is worth noting. Throw in the fact that both of these guys have some troublesome numbers against the current roster. When I say that, I mean the guys that make up the current roster, so the players in the team. 26 plate appearances against, so small for Matthew Boyd here. 11.5% walk rate, just a 19% K rate. Average against of 318. Flip it over to Mackenzie Gore, 57 plate appearances against, 12.3% walk rate. 22% K rate, average against of 265, but an expected batting average against of 302. Both of them have an over 360 expected WOBA. So I don't necessarily think this is going to be like an absolute pitcher's duel. Names coming into it, I was like, oh, maybe we should just trust 2 good pitchers again. I don't think so. I think I like the over in this spot. I think at least one of these teams has a good outing offensively. It might be Washington. I mean, their offense before this series was cruising, right? 9-9-9-11. 1-3. So they've slowed down a little bit. Chicago's the opposite. Chicago's like, we couldn't wait to get out of Chicago because they only had 1 high-scoring game in the last, like, week and a half. And then all of a sudden they get another, what was it, big one yesterday. I think it was 8 was the final score? Yeah, 8-3, right? So I sit here and I kind of look at this as like a spot where I don't really see Chicago's offense getting just dusted by Mackenzie Gore, but you can make the same argument on the other side. So maybe it's crazy because we do have 2 good pitchers on the mound. I'm going to lean slightly towards the over. If I had to pick a side, I still do think Chicago is the better offense, even though there may be a pitching edge on the Washington side. But throw in the fact that Washington's bullpen is just not it, right? Like, they've been better than they were to start the year and all that jazz, but still just not it. So I think you have 9 innings of potential runs for the White Sox here. For the White Sox, wow, for the Cubs here. So I'm going to kind of lean towards them as well as the over. All right, Yankees taking on Cleveland. I want to start with a player prop here. I like Clark Schmidt, the starter for the Yankees. I like his over 1.5 walks. He's been walking a ton of guys so far this season. On the year, 6 of his 8 games, he's gone over that 1.5 number, averaging 2.5 walks per game. At home, he's averaging 3 walks per game. So he's gone 3 against Kansas City, 4 against Toronto, San Diego just 1, and then 5 against the Mets. This is a Cleveland team that is top 10 over the last 30 days at taking walks. They have a nearly 10% walk rate, and this is a Clark Schmidt this year that has a 13.2% walk rate at home. Against left-handed bats, a 15.8, almost 16% walk rate. By the way, a lot of lefties in this Cleveland lineup, so I do like the idea of Clark Schmidt here over the 1.5 walks. I think that could be a final play of ours. Yes, it's going to be a little juicy. I wouldn't play this into the minus 160s. I don't mind it where we're getting it right now, though. I think we're getting it at minus 136. So I think that that's a very decent number for him, right? Overall. So that's over on ProfitX. There's a bunch of other spots in which you might be seeing, minus 150 or so. I'd still play it at minus 150. That lefty number of him walking a lot of lefties says a lot to me, right? Especially with all the lefties in the lineup. In terms of the game here, yeah, I would still lean Yankees. They're the better offense. I don't know what to make of this Cleveland offense. They've been super inconsistent. Yankees are at home where they're 19-9 this season. In the last, this season actually, at home, they're averaging almost 6 runs per game. Luis Ortiz is on the other side of things. Do we really think that he's going to shut down this Yankees club? Probably not. So I'd go Yankees, maybe first 5 run line. In terms of a total, I don't mind the over, though, because, again, Clark Schmidt, I do not have all this utmost amount of faith in. So maybe that inconsistent offense of Cleveland does put up 3 or 4 against them today, that type of a thing. Real quick, guys, all those stats I just mentioned about his walk rate and all that, were able to be found over on our MLB dashboard, which is right here. I'll show you guys how to get access to that dashboard in a second, but this is how I identified it. The red for Clark Schmidt, right? Red is bad, green is good, easy to identify on our dashboards. You could see all of these walk rates, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe if there's a lot of righties, this isn't a good look because he only walked 6% of righties, but over here you could see all of the left bats and the switch hitters here, which he's going to be a righty. He's going to be facing a ton of, it looks like, potentially 7 or 8 lefties today, right? And ultimately, yeah, Cleveland, their walk numbers look pretty damn good as well, right? So that's just one little thing I was able to identify, and I'll show you guys more often because we're always getting messages in the Discord and whatnot being like, hey, like, how do we use the dashboard to identify some things? There's one example. Walks red for the pitcher, walks green for the batter, and then specifically left and righty splits, we can see where these players bat from, right? Now, to get access to our dashboard over on the website, GuyBostonSports.com, head to the members area. I'm logged in, so when I click MLB dashboard under the members option, I will have the dashboard here. And what it is each and every game broken out in a visual format. If you're like, that's kind of tiny, Ev, you can click it, you can download it, you can print it out, you get it for yourself for the day, hard copy version, right, if you'd prefer that. But if you're not logged in, which obviously if you're considering signing up, you don't have an account just yet, you will see something that says membership required. We have a couple different memberships options, all pretty damn cheap for what you're getting. $6.99 for the All Sports, $4.99 for just the MLB dashboard there. If you're like, there's only one series left in the NBA Finals, maybe the MLB dashboard is the thought for you. But what I will say is that whatever price you get in at, right? So say you want to keep the subscription active, even though NBA is about to end, NFL's coming up, you get in at this price, you keep that price as long as your subscription's active. So pretty damn cool there, guys. Go ahead, check it out, GuyBostonSports.com, head to the members area. We built these dashboards originally for me so I could make my research process more efficient. Now we've brought it to you guys. All right, Toronto taking on Philadelphia. This is tough. You have Mick Abel on the mound for Philadelphia going up against Jose Barrios. Barrios is coming off of a very good start, 6 innings, 0 earned runs, 9 strikeouts against the A's. Before that, he was kind of starting to get touched up a little bit. But why I say this is tough is because you have Mick Abel, who did pitch really well. It was like 5 innings or so, just 5 hits, no earned runs, I believe, in his debut. But it was against Pittsburgh. This Toronto offense should be better than Pittsburgh. So I kind of sit here kind of questioning what's going on, right? Like, is this kid good? I don't know too much about him other than what we can see from his game logs, which, he had been pretty damn good in the minors overall. In fact, before coming up, he had a 2.2 ERA. So, yeah, obviously he's got some talent. That's why he's in the bigs. Is this Toronto lineup the best spot for him? He's going to throw a lot of fastballs. They don't hit that all that well. He'll throw the sinker. They don't hit that all that well. The curveball, they don't hit that all well. Maybe this is a spot to get the Phillies at a decent number, right? Right now you can get the Phillies, who are the better offense. I'm still confident in that, even with Barrios on the mound, at near even odds, all because this kid is pitching. So, yeah, I guess I lean Phillies, but it's tough because we're backing him. Maybe we could say Phillies team total over, but I have a feeling that's going to be pretty damn high due to the fact that we have a total of, 4.5 from minus 110. Isn't that crazy? But because we have a total of 9, I was hoping this would be like 8.5, but obviously with the pitcher on the mound there, it's tough. So give me the Phillies, give me their team total over, and I guess by association, full game over as well. Let me make sure we didn't have any player props in this one before we do move on. I guess we are good to actually. Andres Jimenez here under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs is a maybe, just because of the pitch mix. The curveball and slider could be good, but he actually hits righties better than lefties. So, hits lefties better than righties, and going up against righty today. So I think it kind of makes sense, but I don't know if I want to pay the minus 150 price tag that I'm seeing in front of me. Atlanta taking on Arizona. I should have trusted myself yesterday. Zach Gallen pitches a decent game. Not like a crazy good game. He actually got better, I felt like, as the game went on, right? He had 1 earned run. It was a solo blast, but he pitched 7 innings. In terms of strikeouts, what did he end up having? I think he only had like 4 strikeouts. So it wasn't this like dominant performance, but he did his job, and they went 8-3, and they were plus 142 at the closing line. So I leaned Diamondbacks yesterday because I think Zach Allen is just that good, even though he's starting to lose a lot of people's respect. But I guess we can't complain. We went 10-1 yesterday. Do I keep reminding you that we went 10-1, by the way? It's like my way of being like, hey, I'll be talking about this for years. But ultimately in this spot, it's going to be a little bit different, right? You have Chris Sale on the bump going up against Merrill Kelly. Kelly hasn't been good. We could say that. He looked good for a little bit of a stretch. Hasn't really been all that great. Chris Sale is Chris Sale, and it looks like he is freaking back, right? He's given you, at minimum, like 6 innings now of 4-hit baseball, maybe an earned run. So I do think that gives them an advantage. And I will say, if you do like the Braves today, that price at minus 175 on our graphic, I think you can beat that pretty handily now. So it looks like there is some, you can get this at minus 158, which is a big deal, right? Minus 175 to minus 158 is a decently big deal. My concern would be the Braves offense. I don't know how much I fully trust what they're doing here. I guess I like the Braves. I guess I like Chris Sale and want to back him. But Arizona, to me, still has the far better offense. And the minute this thing goes into the later innings, who knows what could happen. So maybe we could take a peek at a first 5 for the Braves. But it's not like I said. Merrill Kelly has had a couple bad starts, but he did have a decent stretch. And this is a Braves squad that isn't all that tremendous. Now, they're a little bit better at home. They're a little bit better against righties. I get it. That's probably why I do lean Braves, because they have Sale and a comfortable spot offensively. But it's just not like a hammer them spot. Usually when Sale's pitching, you can be like, hey, let's go. But the Diamondbacks are one of those teams that kind of makes you think twice about it. So I'll take Atlanta. I don't mind the idea of an under. I think this could be a 4-3 game to finish off, because Sale should slightly cancel the Diamondbacks offense. And then the Braves offense, not all that consistent. Who really knows what they're going to do, right? So yeah, I'll take the Braves and the under. I believe we did have a couple Arizona unders as well in terms of player props here, kind of backing Chris Sale out to me, right? So let me get those and we'll get right back. All right, the first one I don't think people are necessarily going to like. We have the under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs here for Corbin Carroll. He's got 3 hits off of 8 plate appearances against Chris Sale. I get it, but he's a little bit worse against lefties, and Chris Sale's good against lefties, right? So we love the lefty split. And then sliders, his WOBA drops from 389 down to 270. Fastballs, it does go up. We're going to get a lot of fastballs from Sale, but that slider might be enough to put me over the edge. And then for all the same reasons, I also take a peek at Geraldo Perdomo here. I will say Carroll's coming off a 2 home run game, so a little dicey there, but that could be something that we consider, kind of trusting Chris Sale. But the problem is Chris Sale's not going to pitch all 4 or 5 at-bats against the kid, right? We're going to get some bullpen arms, which worries me a little bit. Tampa Bay taking on Texas. Shane Baz is on the mound. While he is a good pitcher, I do think that he's had a little bit of struggles lately, but he's gone up against some decent offenses, right? Philadelphia, Toronto twice, Houston, all within his last 5 starts. He's going up against Kumar Rocker, who has not had a start in quite some time. So I think that we have a nice little spot here. He had a shoulder injury. Again, I don't know if it was his pitching shoulder or not, but either way, I think my play is pretty simple. And it's a little juicy, but I do think the spot makes sense. This is minus 170 elsewhere, but over on MGM and Caesars right now, actually DraftKings in the minus 160s too, you can get their team total, Tampa Bay's team total, over 3.5. I think that's ultimately what I'm going to be taking a peek at here. Again, pretty damn juiced. But I tell you guys all the time, the way that I identify the value or the juice would be, one, obviously looking at all the other books. If something's in the minus 160s and it's in the minus 190s elsewhere, I'm more fixated on that 30 cents of value, even though the risk is a lot more than the reward in a sense. But secondarily, our numbers, we have this, for that team total right in the minus 170s. So yeah, on our end, it's kind of a value play as well. So yeah, it might be kind of crazy. A lot of people might disagree with that, and I do get it. But ultimately, that's kind of why I can justify it. It's more of a justification than like a go hammer it spot. Why do we do like this? Well, Kumar Rocker, again, coming off injury. Hopefully that is a good thing for us. But he throws 38% of his pitches a slider, right? Number 2 team in the league last 30 days hitting the slider in terms of runs above average, Tampa Bay. So boom, there it is. I do like the idea of them getting to 4 runs here, even if it's not just all off Rocker. I do think they could score in the bullpen as well. In terms of them, getting to this number this season, 50% of their games. Sure, that doesn't sound all that great, but all of a sudden you look at it from a home perspective, and it gets a little bit better than they've had in their last 5 games here, which is a smaller sample size. It's kind of what I want to focus on: a 13-run game, a 7-run game, 5 and 5. The only game that they didn't was against Minnesota there in their last home game. So I do think this could be a good spot. On the season at home against righties, they're averaging 4.96 runs per game. So it seems like a decent situation. I guess I'm also saying I'd lean toward Tampa Bay on the money line as well. But again, Shane Baz is a little bit worrisome to me, and I could easily see them losing like a 5-4 game if Texas's offense decides to show up. So I think if they can get to that 4-run mark, yeah, they have a good chance of winning the game, but also they would cash this play for us. So I'm going to lean towards that over, and then I guess Tampa Bay if I had to pick a side. All right, White Sox, we said it. We sounded the cycle alert alarm. I can't victory lap it because, we didn't end up playing it ourselves, but we did like the White Sox yesterday. I just think Shane Smith is decent. Now, we don't have to talk about him because he's not pitching today. Today, we have Schuster on the mound, who should just be opening for them. And then it looks like Vasso, who I really don't know too much about, is going to be the primary pitcher. So, obviously, a pretty big bullpen day for Chicago because even Vasso, I say I don't know too much about him. I know he's not a starter and or a primary pitcher, right? So yeah, I look at this and I'm like, okay, well, this is clearly a game in which they have a Schuster starting and then a bullpen arm coming in, even though Schuster, I guess, could be considered a starter because he has in the past, but he's more their mid-relief guy, right? Nonetheless, I think this is a Detroit spot game. They have Sawyer Gibson-Long, who I thought was pitching yesterday, didn't. Then it was Brisk or whatever. Probably in the first 5, that's what we can get at, or Tigers team total over. I don't think that they end up getting embarrassed like they did yesterday. They won 13-1 in game 1. They're like, yeah, let's go. They lose 8-1 to the White Sox in game number 2. So this should be a bounce back spot for them. If you like their team total over, I'm not going to say that that's a crazy play either. I think they can get to 5 runs today. What I was kind of looking at was an idea of like over 2.5 runs parlayed with the money line or something like that, because I do think that this is a spot where they bounce back, right? And I talk about the bullpen. I guess the Tigers are doing a similar thing, but the offense is like the White Sox blowing their load, scoring 8 runs. I don't think they do that again. So this should be a good spot if you could somehow work in Tigers winning, right? In terms of total, like I said, team total over for the Tigers. This was a tough one yesterday. A historic night was on the board. They were winning 7-2 and they lose 10-7. Today we have Michaelis going up against Noah Cameron. Noah Cameron has been very good, so I give him credit for that. I don't really know where I'm going in this one, so hate to take the wind out of the sails there and tell you guys I'm not confident in much, but Cameron I almost think it's one of 2 things. Either the kid's filthy or he's due for some serious regression. The question is, do we really think the regression comes against the St. Louis offense that does struggle to some degree against lefties? 6th in average overall over the last 30 days, drops to 17th against lefties. OPS 13-16, on base percentage 8-17. So we could see some struggles out of them. Kansas City, on the other hand, are just rarely confusing. We saw what happened yesterday, right? They just got guys on base and they brought them home. So Kansas City has a lot of advantages here. They have the better pitcher, but at a plus money tag, makes me feel like it's a little bit of a trap. I'm going to not take the bait. I'm going to go St. Louis on the money line. But isn't that weird? The better pitcher, probably the better offense today, and the better bullpen for plus money seems like a good opportunity. I'm not falling for your little bear trap there. I'll also take a peek at the under 10-7 yesterday. If St. Louis is the team that wins this game, and I don't think they hit lefties all that well, then I don't think that they put up a boatload of runs today. All right, Seattle taking on Baltimore. We have Cade Povich on the mound going up against Emerson Hancock. This is really, really tough because I do want to sit here and look at the Mariners in a bounce back spot, but Hancock is really tough to back, right? He's coming off of a few decent starts. I'll give him a little bit of credit there, but ultimately, we don't necessarily know what we're going to get. And don't look now, and I've said it for a while now, this Baltimore offense is slowly and steadily becoming a little bit better, kind of like maybe what we thought they were going to be. So I do worry about backing Seattle's Emerson Hancock, but maybe the play is over 3.5 for their team total. But I just can't believe the juice that we're throwing out there today. Like, this is a minus 154 play. That seems a little bit crazy, right? So I do get it. A lot of plays where, you're definitely getting your vitamin C today. So it's a little bit tough. But ultimately, Cade Povich, like I said, he's been a little bit better, but one thing I want to throw in and make very, very clear is he struggles mightily against the right-handed bats. In fact, using our dashboard, you could see, been pretty good on the road, pretty good against lefties. Righties he struggles with. Look at how many righties he's going to see in the lineup today, right? And even Rayleigh is going to be, and Tavares, I guess, he's going to have righties because he's a lefty. So he's pretty much got all righties to go up against. I think that's going to be a little difficult for him. And, the bullpens aren't all that great in Baltimore. So I guess this is a spot in which, I'm trusting them to go out there and potentially score some runs. And when I say some runs, you get to 4. That ain't all that crazy to ask for, right? This is still a Seattle offense that has that in them. They haven't scored 4 runs in 2 straight games, but prior to that, they were getting there, and they looked pretty good on the road. So, at home. So, for the price tag, it's a little bit, like I said, a little concerning because it is definitely a pretty high number, but I can't take a peek past this one because of Cade Povich's numbers against the righties. So Seattle team total over or Seattle money line is what I'd look at. All right, next up we have San Francisco taking on San Diego. On the mound today, we have Kyle Harrison going up against Nick Pivetta. I think it's pretty clear which team has the starting pitching advantage here. San Diego, I don't want to say they look back because they've won 2 very close games, right? But I do think that they could get to Harrison today. In terms of him against them, he really has some not so great numbers. 36 plate appearances, so it's not all that crazy, but walking a decent amount of guys, a WOBA of 341, expected slugging 540, launch angle of 21.5. So if they put it up in the air, we could see some runs here today. I think the only reason you're able to get the Padres at this price is because, 1, I guess they're going up against lefty, and 2, their offense has been struggling. But I think Pivetta should be able to at least pitch well here today, regardless of what happens with the San Diego offense. So maybe we take a peek at San Fran's team total under. Problem is, this total's at 7. So we're going to get a really low number there. It's probably like 2.5, which is a little bit, tough to see. So I'm going to lean towards the under. And the Padres may be winning this one like 4-3 maximum. But I just think you're getting good odds. You have pretty much of a pick 'em on either side. And if that's the case, I'd take Pivetta over Harrison 10 times out of 10. You know what I mean? Even though Harrison, I shouldn't really knock on him because he has been pitching well in some spots, but he also has these blow-up numbers against, offenses where he sees a lot of good bats. As bad as San Diego has been offensively, they still have a lot of those intimidating bats in the lineup. So maybe that's a piece of it, right? So maybe San Diego does get to him. That's why I said a safer pivot in my mind would just be San Fran's team total under. Athletics taking on Minnesota. I don't think we have a confirmed starter for the A's just yet. Jeffrey Springs is what I have listed, though, as well as Zebby Matthews. So we'll keep an eye on the starters, but I believe that is what we'll be getting. But I've also seen Jack Perkins. So, we don't know who's starting for the Athletics. It does look like it's Zebby, though, for this Minnesota team. But again, we won't know that until, I guess, a little bit later. Ultimately, and when did Jeffrey Springs last pitch? Because if he pitched, I want to say he pitched, it honestly could be his turn to start. But whatever. Zebby Matthews hasn't been all that great. Springs hasn't been all that phenomenal either. I think I would look at an over in this spot because of the nice weather that we have there at that AAA ballpark. Winds blowing out, really, really hot. So I would lean towards an over almost regardless of who's on the mound for the Athletics. In terms of a side, I do still think that I would trust the Twins, especially in a spot here after they've now shown that their offense is really, really good. They could probably push this to a team total over 4.5 too. I should mention the sweep potential, right? I can't have my cake and eat it too. I do like the Twins, but one thing that would keep me off of it is the fact that this could be a nice, easy. Actually, this wouldn't be a sweep, right? Is this a 4-game series? I'll have to check that, but I think that this might be a 4-game series, so maybe there is still some room to play the Twins without having to worry about the sweep. But ultimately, yeah, it's going to be Twins or their team total over or the over in general. I don't think Zebby Matthews is this like really good pitcher or anything, right? So we could see some runs out of the Athletics today as well. Dodgers taking on the Mets. Looks like we have Gonsolin going up against Griffin Canning. I don't mind the over right off the rip. I think that we could see a high-scoring game. Yesterday we did see one 6-5, right? But that also took the Dodgers. So the Dodgers were winning. Mets came back, took the lead, I think the 5th or 6th. Then the Dodgers had to tie it in the 9th, and then they win in extra. So it was kind of sweaty for us to cash that Dodgers ticket, even though we were looking at like a 4-1 game through 4 innings. Gonsolin hasn't been all that great. I will give you that. But I am also sitting here being like, I don't think Griffin Canning's been all that great. And if you really do come down to, if it really does, I should say, come down to who's going to score more runs, I think I'm taking the Dodgers, especially when you take a peek at the New York bullpen. Take a peek at this. I'll show it on the screen. And like I say, guys, it's a free tool. It's called FanGraphs. Just Google FanGraphs roster research or FanGraphs closer depth chart. It's great. But this is the Mets bullpen. All those colors, that's not good. You don't want this thing lit up like a finger painting or a Christmas tree, right? The Dodgers, okay, they're kind of lit up too. I know this looks good, but this is how many guys they have injured, which is crazy. But, I do still think that, and maybe no Scott, right? But everyone else they might get some, leverage out of. And compared to the Mets, they're just in a better spot regardless. So I think I like the Dodgers on the money line here, but I don't mind the idea of an over. I don't really want to sit here and tell you that Gonsolin is going to go out there and pitch a gem against this squad. He is going to throw a lot of fastballs, which is a great pitch against this team, and the slider and splitter, but the splitter isn't necessarily the best pitch. The slider could be very good against this Mets team. On the other side of things, you obviously have the Dodgers, who are just a very good offense. They're going to see pretty much any pitch they should be able to hit here against Canning, right? So yeah, I'm going to lean Dodgers as well as a slight lean to the over. And guys, it's going to wrap for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. Really do appreciate all the support. I don't know if we can go 10-1 again. I'll tell you that much for free, and including this, 35+ minute video for free. But we are sure as hell going to try. I love doing this stuff, and you guys really, the reciprocation of that love means so much. I'm not going to get all sappy at the end of the video, but man, oh man, do I appreciate it. And I tell you guys all the time because I don't want anyone, even for a second, to think that I take any of this for granted. So really do appreciate it. We'll catch you guys in the next one, right? Peace out.